How to Success. Elon Musk's story doesn't begin with rockets landing perfectly on floating platforms or electric cars gliding silently down highways. It begins much earlier, in moments of isolation, doubt, and repeated failure that quietly carved his character long before the world knew his name. To understand his success, you have to sit with his failures, not rush past them. Because for Elon Musk, failure was never a detour. It was the road itself. As a child growing up in South Africa, Elon was not the confident, charismatic figure people see today. He was awkward, deeply introverted, and often lost in his own thoughts. He read obsessively, sometimes 10 hours a day, consuming encyclopedias, science fiction novels, and philosophy books. While other kids were learning how to fit in, Elon was learning how the universe worked. That difference made him an easy target. He was bullied relentlessly, beaten badly enough on one occasion to require hospitalization. Those early years taught him something painful but powerful: the world would not protect you just because you were different. If he wanted to survive, he had to become resilient. That resilience showed itself early. At 12 years old, Elon taught himself computer programming and sold a simple video game called Blaster for a few $100s. It wasn't the money that mattered. It was the realization that ideas could be turned into reality through sheer effort. Still, this small success didn't magically make life easier. He felt trapped in South Africa, surrounded by limitations he didn't choose. He dreamed of America not as a place of comfort, but as a place of possibility. So he left, alone, with almost nothing, carrying more ambition than certainty. His early years in North America were not glamorous. He worked brutal jobs, including cleaning boiler rooms and shoveling debris in lumber mills. These weren't stepping stones to greatness, they were survival tactics. Elon wasn't chasing comfort. He was chasing learning. When he entered university, first in Canada and later in the United States, he was driven by a single obsession: how to improve humanity's future. That obsession would become both his greatest strength and his greatest source of pain. His first major entrepreneurial venture, Zip2, was far from smooth. Elon and his brother lived in the office, sleeping on the floor, showering at local gyms, and surviving on cheap meals. Elon worked insane hours, coding through the night, fixing bugs, and chasing investors during the day. The pressure was enormous. When Zip2 finally succeeded and was sold, Elon expected a sense of fulfillment. Instead, he felt restless. He had money, but not meaning. And that restlessness pushed him into his next failure. With the proceeds from Zip2, Elon founded X.com, an online financial services company that later became PayPal. This period was filled with internal conflict. Elon was intense, uncompromising, and often unwilling to slow down for others. His leadership style clashed with his team. While PayPal succeeded, Elon himself was pushed out as CEO while on his honeymoon. Imagine building something from scratch, pouring your identity into it, only to be removed from the very thing you created. That moment could have broken him. For many people, it would have. For Elon, it became a lesson in humility and self-awareness. Even if he would never openly admit how deeply it hurt, instead of retreating, he doubled down. He asked himself a dangerous question: what problems matter most? His answer led him to space and energy, two industries known for crushing dreamers. When Elon founded SpaceX, experts openly laughed at him. He had no formal aerospace background. Established companies dismissed him as a rich tech guy playing with rockets. But Elon wasn't playing. He was obsessed with making humanity a multiplanetary species. To him, this wasn't science fiction. It was survival. The early days of SpaceX were a masterclass in failure. Rocket after rocket exploded. Millions of dollars vanished in fireballs. Each launch failure was public, humiliating, and devastating. Investors pulled back. Engineers doubted. The media mocked. By the time SpaceX reached its fourth launch attempt, the company was nearly out of money. Elon had invested almost everything he had. Failure meant not just the end of SpaceX, but the collapse of his entire vision. What most people don't understand is the emotional toll of those moments. Elon has admitted that this period was excruciating. He slept on factory floors, agonized over every decision, and carried the weight of hundreds of employees who trusted him. He wasn't calm or confident. He was terrified. But he didn't stop. When the fourth launch finally succeeded, it wasn't just a technical victory. It was a moment that rewrote his relationship with failure. He learned that persistence, when paired with learning, could bend reality. At the same time, Tesla was on the brink of disaster. The company faced production delays, quality issues, and financial chaos. Elon poured his remaining money into keeping it alive. There were moments when both Tesla and SpaceX were weeks away from bankruptcy simultaneously. This wasn't a motivational quote moment. This was real fear, real exhaustion, and real risk. Elon has said that if SpaceX's fourth launch had failed, both companies would have died. Even after success began to appear, failure never left him. Tesla faced criticism for missed deadlines, controversial design choices, and Elon's own polarizing behavior. He made bold promises and sometimes failed to meet them. He was ridiculed for it. Yet those failures forced Tesla to innovate faster, rethink manufacturing, and challenge assumptions about what was possible in the automotive industry. Every mistake sharpened the company's edge. What makes Elon Musk attractive to so many people isn't perfection. It's vulnerability wrapped in ambition. He fails publicly, painfully, and repeatedly. He doesn't hide it. He absorbs it. His failures shaped a mindset that treats problems as puzzles, not personal attacks. When something goes wrong, he doesn't ask, who is to blame? He asks, what is the root cause? That way of thinking turns failure into fuel. His early failures also shaped his tolerance for risk. Elon learned that fear doesn't disappear when you succeed. You just learn how to move with it. He understands that progress requires stepping into uncertainty again and again. That's why he continues to take on projects others consider impossible. Not because he enjoys danger, but because he's already made peace with failure. Behind the headlines and controversies is a man who has been knocked down more times than most people ever realize. His confidence isn't the absence of doubt. It's the decision to act despite it. His success isn't luck. It's the compound interest of lessons learned the hard way. Elon Musk's journey reminds us that failure isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. Often, it's proof that you're pushing boundaries. His early struggles taught him endurance. His setbacks taught him precision, and his near collapse taught him focus. Without those failures, his success would be shallow, fragile, and temporary. In the end, Elon Musk didn't succeed because he avoided failure. He succeeded because he allowed failure to shape him, refine him, and harden his resolve. His story isn't about genius alone. It's about stubborn belief, relentless effort, and the courage to stand back up when the world expects you to stay down. And that is what makes his success not just impressive, but deeply human. And when you look at Elon Musk today, standing at the center of industries that once seemed untouchable, it's tempting to believe the hardest part is over. But the truth is, for someone like him, the struggle never really ends. It only evolves. The failures that shaped his early life didn't disappear once success arrived, they simply changed form. Public criticism grew louder. Expectations became heavier. Every mistake now echoed across the world in real time. Yet those early wounds had already trained him for this level of pressure. What sets Elon apart is that he never allowed success to make him soft. Many people, once they reach a certain height, start protecting their comfort. Elon does the opposite. He reinvests his success back into risk. He challenges his own achievements, almost as if he's afraid of becoming static. That fear traces directly back to his early failures. When standing still meant falling behind. There is also something deeply human about the way failure shaped his emotional world. Elon is not polished in the traditional sense. He can be blunt, awkward, even controversial. But that roughness is part of his authenticity. He doesn't pretend to be flawless. He doesn't package himself as a motivational poster. His appeal comes from the fact that he is visibly imperfect, visibly learning, visibly struggling in front of everyone. That honesty, intentional or not, creates connection. His early failures taught him that approval is unreliable. When rockets explode, when companies stumble, when critics attack, applause disappears instantly. So he learned to operate without needing validation. That internal compass allows him to continue when logic says stop. It's why he can pursue goals that take decades, goals that may not fully benefit him personally. Failure taught him patience on a scale few people develop. Perhaps the most powerful lesson Elon learned from failing early is this: identity must be rooted in purpose, not outcome. If your sense of self depends on winning, failure will destroy you. But if it depends on trying, failure becomes information. Elon's failure stripped him of ego again and again, forcing him to rebuild his identity around mission rather than applause. That is why setbacks don't end his story. They deepen it. In a world obsessed with overnight success, Elon Musk stands as a contradiction. His journey shows that success is often slow, painful, and humiliating before it becomes inspiring. The moments that nearly ended his career are the same moments that built the foundation beneath it. Without the bullying, he might never have developed resilience. Without being fired, he might never have learned humility. Without rockets exploding, he might never have learned precision. Without standing on the edge of bankruptcy, he might never have learned focus. His life quietly delivers a message many people avoid: failure is not the opposite of success. It is the training ground for it. Every collapse carries a lesson, but only if you're willing to stay long enough to learn it. Elon stayed. Again and again, and maybe that is the most attractive part of his story. Not the wealth. Not the fame. Not even the inventions. But the refusal to quit on himself when quitting would have been reasonable. His success is not a miracle. It is a scarred, imperfect, stubborn continuation of effort. Elon Musk's early failures didn't just shape his success. They shaped his courage, his tolerance for pain, and his belief that the future is something you build, not wait for. His story doesn't tell us that everyone will become Elon Musk. It tells us something far more useful: that falling down does not disqualify you. Staying down does, and as long as he keeps choosing to stand back up, his story will never really be finished.